Back in 2019, while I was living in Hollywood, California, I had the privilege of taking a course with Dr. Nick Holton. And in that course, he talked about 8 thinking traps that we should avoid. And since then, we became really good friends, and this training has just transformed my life. And today, I want to share with you what those thinking traps are. So this is going to be a part 1 of 2 series, and today I want to talk about 4 of those thinking traps. And the purpose of these thinking traps that we want to avoid is so that we can get out of destructive mindsets that we might be in, that we don't even know about, that will help us start to live the life that we deserve. So let's check what those are.
Let's go. You are incredible. Your body has a purpose. Your life has a purpose. You were designed to live the best life possible.
Mic check. Mic sound okay? Camera 1 good? Camera 2 good? All right, here we go. Back in 2019, I moved from Florida to Hollywood, California to take part in a 2-year acting conservatory. And during this 2-year process at the beginning there, we had the privilege of taking a psychology course. And in the psychology course, I met Dr. Nick Holton. He played soccer through college and he had some setbacks with that, and he became fascinated with psychology. And in that, one of the things that he focuses on is how to get a person to thrive. So he has the privilege of being a coach for many division schools for soccer and many other athletes. And in that, when we were talking about specifically how to prepare our mindset for acting, one of the things he was talking about was 8 thinking traps to avoid. And in these thinking traps, he talked about how these are traps that as humans we fall into without us even knowing about them, which I thought was fascinating because a lot of times we do fall into certain destructive patterns without us even knowing that we're in there. And it's so important. I don't care what it is that you do. I learned really quickly whether you're trying to do acting. I utilize this information I'm going to even share with you with my students as a health coach, right? And whether you're also an athlete, an entrepreneur, a business owner, or even just an average blue collar worker or individual that's looking to enhance his life, mindset is what drives everything. And a lot of us fall into these 8 thinking traps. So today, I'm going to talk about the 4 thinking traps. We're going to break it down, and then we're going to go into another episode sharing the other thinking traps. So the first one he talked about was jumping to conclusions. And a lot of times when we're talking about jumping to conclusions, it's very simple. And it happens so easily that we don't even know it happens. And I'm sure you may have even said this yourself. You're having a conversation with somebody and you tell them, I'm not going to be able to pass that test. I'm not going to be able to achieve this. I'm not going to get this job interview, right? I'm not going to be able to get this raise. I'm not going to be able to achieve this goal this week or this month. And that simple statement right there is a statement that literally is causing us to jump into conclusions, jumping conclusions of something that we don't even know if it's actually true. So as he was talking about this, he talks about teaching us that if we don't have stats to really verify that what we're saying is absolutely true, then more than likely we're jumping to conclusions. Basically, you're already anticipating something to happen to you without having evidence of it truly happening or if it's actually going to happen. And look, I see this a lot with my students as I coach many men and women on their health and fitness journey, whether they're stuck on trying to release weight or they're struggling with emotional eating or stress eating or binge eating. A lot of times initially when they're starting their process, they get frustrated because they say, I'm not going to be able to meet my goals this week. I'm not going to be able to achieve this habit. And I ask them, how do you know? How do you know if this is actually true if you haven't even attempted it? right? So the first thinking trap, which is jumping to conclusions, is very easy to fall into because it really has to do with fear, right? And Dr. Nick Holton talks about how it's usually this fear of unknown. And we've all heard about it, right? The fear of unknown, the fear of maybe insecurities of maybe it's not going to work out. What if it doesn't work out? What if I put in all my efforts and then I don't get the result? It's all based on fear. So one thinking trap today that I want you to start analyzing is, are you jumping to conclusions? Are you jumping to conclusions without having the proper evidence that what you're saying is actually true? Okay. Number 2, tunnel vision. This one happens to me quite often, actually, to where this tunnel vision actually makes us go into literally like a tunnel where all we see is our struggle. All we see is our complication. All we see is the difficulty, the impossible. All we see is negativity. And when we are in this thinking trap, it doesn't allow us to look at every other opportunity that might be around us. Literally, we might have an opportunity right here and it's knocking at our door. It's telling you, hey, I'm here. I have the solution for you. But because we're so honed in on the negative, because we're so honed in on the challenge, on the problem, on how impossible something might seem, on how Sarah may have told you you're not going to achieve this thing, right? The negative thoughts, the negative comments, the negative statements that are said over us, we hone in on that negative and we forget. It's like we're blinded and all we look at is this problem. And when we're in a tunnel vision, nothing else around us is visible to us. And this is very dangerous. Why? Because literally, we might have the solution right in front of us and we might miss it, right? We might have a job opportunity right here in front of us. We might have a raise right there in front of us, but we're not able to see it. And literally, a lot of these thinking traps are generally all surrounded by negativity. And tunnel vision is one that I think a lot of us can relate to. And I remember having a conversation with him because as I was going through this conservatory program, it was, I would argue, say it was the most difficult thing I have ever done in all of my life up until today. There's so much challenge that arises in us because we're put through so many things as actors that we need to get very vulnerable and we've got to look inside of us. And sometimes that's scary. But one thing that was happening to me was that I was just looking at the failure of me not being able to achieve whatever my acting coach was asking of me. And that's all I would look at. I wasn't able to see the 1% growth. I wasn't able to see how much I was actually really observing and gaining insight on. I wasn't really able to look at how much I have been starting to grow. And because I was just focused on this negativity, I wasn't enjoying the process. I don't know where you're at today. I don't know what particular field you might be in. I don't know what area you're looking to expand in or to grow in. But one of the things that I have learned is we must fall in love with the process. And I like to take it a step further and really invite you to fall in love with the process of discovery. Now, what is that? We're all in discovery of something. Discovering who we are, discovering what we're made of, discovering what our talents are, discovering how much we can achieve, how much we can accomplish. It's a discovery that we're living each day. We go to sleep at night, and when we wake up, we do not know what the heck can happen. And that in itself, as the day is going, we're discovering something. Something new about us, something new about our partner, something new about our business, something new about our health journey. And in that, if we do not fall in love with the process of discovering who we can become, look, it's going to be very hard to actually endure the process to greatness. There's greatness inside of us. All of us. We all have greatness. And when we do not know the greatness that is inside of us, and we simply quit because we think we're not going to achieve it because all we're focusing on is the negativity, and we're not falling in love with this process of becoming, this process of growth, this process of discovery, we can lose it. And you were not created to lose. You were not created to live a mediocre life. That is why if today, I want you to take a moment, really take a deep breath right now and think about, what have I been focusing on? Have I been focusing on negativity? Is all I see negativity? Because if that's the answer, if the answer is yes, then you've probably fallen into thinking trap number 2, which is tunnel vision. Now let's look at number 3. Magnify and minimize. I didn't understand this one initially. So when we're talking about magnify, we're literally looking at making the problem bigger than it really is. Now this is the big one, because look, if you're anywhere as a human as I am, we can all relate that we've all taken a little tiny problem and made it humongous because of what we think this problem may do to us or what it may cause to us. And a lot of times, look, there's even that phrase, right? That word that we've all used, being extra. And we might take this little tiny situation and make it so big, and we become so extra with it that it's really not that big, but yet because this little situation may be taking or consuming or just happen in such a way that has impacted you, it may seem as if it's bigger. But a lot of times we make it bigger by allowing it to literally impact us in such a way emotionally that it literally feels as if the world is caving in, as if the world is falling on us. I learned this one thing that I heard from Kobe Bryant. And he was talking about, like, how do you get out of situations that you've fallen on that seem like the world is crashing on you? He was talking about his friend that was on the free throw line. And he was talking to him and he said, hey, Kobe, I don't know why every time I am about to shoot a free throw, I just get these negative thoughts. And I think that I'm going to mess up. I think that I'm going to fall apart, that I can't do it. And he said a phrase, and he said, this phrase is what I go through in my head that allows me to get over circumstances when they try to take over me, when they try to magnify, when I try to magnify them in a greater way. And he said, okay, and then what? So first, we ask ourselves this question: is it the first time you've ever been in a situation like this? So he told his friend, is it the first time you've ever missed a free throw? He said, no. He says, okay, cool. So then in that moment, ask yourself, and then what? Well, what's going to happen if you miss the free throw? Well, I'm going to think that I let my team down. And then he goes on and he says, okay, and then what? Is this the first time you've let your team down? He goes, no. Okay, so then what? Well, I feel like an idiot. I feel like I'm dumb. I feel that I'm a professional basketball player and I can't make this hoop. Well, is this the first time you've ever felt dumb or you felt like a failure? He goes, no. So then we keep asking ourselves, okay, and then what? And we take down this problem and we keep simplifying it and we keep breaking it apart by asking this question to the point to where we realize that this problem, this situation that we thought was so destructive and just so life-threatening and just was causing the world to crumble, is really not that big of a deal. Sally coming into work and not talking to you or not saying hi to you, it's really not that big of a deal. right? Your boss having a bad day and maybe not introducing himself to you or not giving you a raise. I mean, it might impact you, but it's really not that big of a deal. You losing one client is really not that big of a deal. It may seem like it in the moment, but like there's more opportunities ahead of you, right? So that's part one, magnifying, making everything bigger than what it really is. Now then there's the other extreme, minimizing it. Not taking responsibility for something that you really did and maybe, and literally making it smaller as if it has nothing to do with you. There is no consequences. It doesn't pertain to you, right? Not taking responsibilities for a job that you should have done and you didn't do it. And now everybody's mad at you and you just like, whatever. You brush it off. This is a totally different extreme because when we're not taking responsibility for things that maybe we have done, maybe we hurt someone, maybe we didn't execute something effectively, maybe we didn't take responsibility and actually do what we needed to do in our health and fitness journey. Maybe we continue to make these choices that we know are hurting our body, making wrong food choices, right? Consistently knowing that I shouldn't be eating this. One, because the doctor said if I continue to do this, my cholesterol is going to stay high, and you just don't take responsibility for that. That's a problem. That's a thinking trap that we want to be able to get out of. Okay, and then the last thinking trap that I want to talk about today is personalizing. And this one's very unique because it's literally about everything that happens to us, we take it personal. We think as if everybody out there in the world has something against us. If somebody that we know walks by us and doesn't look at us, we take it personal. We might think, she's angry at me. What did I do? What does she think she is? Why isn't she saying hi to me? We start analyzing and creating these crazy thoughts in our head, making everything that happens around us personal, taking them personal, as if the world and everybody in it is out to attack you. Personalizing is dangerous because we literally start to allow external factors to start to impact you, to start to devastate you, to start to tear you down and weigh you down. And when we become instinctual about things that are around us and we start to take them personal, we allow others around us, circumstance, situations, our environment to literally start to dictate how we should live, how we should respond, what our mood is. Should we be happy? Should we be sad? What is happening to us emotionally? It is a very destructive, draining thinking trap. Look, I'm sure you've heard of this, but I want to reinforce this. When you are so afraid of what others are going to think about you, or if you're so afraid that everybody is out to get you, I promise you, probably 90% of the time, they're not thinking about you. It's not about you. As humans, we're so concerned about us and only us. We're so inwardly thinking about us that like a lot of times people around us don't even matter. Which in a certain part, that's sad, right? Because I think I'm a firm believer that we should care about others. We should love others like we love ourselves. But personalizing and taking everything personal as if there's something wrong with you, as if there's a problem with me, nobody loves me, everybody hates me. There must be something wrong with me because nobody likes me, because nobody has the time to talk to me. I don't have any friends, so therefore there might be a problem with me. Personalizing is very dangerous and one of the thinking traps that I had fallen into in high school. And it kept me in this stuck state of mind, not being able to evolve, and it even caused me to be a bit introverted. And I didn't go out to take on college opportunities that I had for football and really explore what that could have been because I thought the coaches were against me. And so today, I really want to invite you to look at what these 4 thinking traps are and if they may be doing something into your life, or maybe you are in one of these thinking traps today. And look, and if you find yourself in one of these 4 thinking traps, I just invite you to take responsibility, be honest with yourself, take ownership of them, and don't judge yourself or have shame. Because look, if today we identify that, yeah, maybe I have been jumping into conclusions, well, now I challenge you, let's take it a step further. And how can we actually start to change that? By identifying it when it happens. So the number one thing I want to leave you with in today's episode is for you to look at, if you find yourself in one of these, pay attention. When is it that you fall into this thinking trap? Is it when you're stressed? Is it when you're in a specific problem? Is it when certain things are falling apart? And if you do find yourself in that thinking trap or going into that thinking trap, catch yourself and tell yourself, no, it's not the right way to think. No, don't jump to conclusions. No, get out of that tunnel vision. No, don't magnify or minimize. No, it's not personal. Try that. And drop in the comments if this was insightful, if you got anything away from this, if this has helped you in any way, or if you had an experience that you want to share, drop it in the comment section and let me know. Look, I want to remind you, every week on Thursday, I am coming with a new video. Check it out. If you haven't subscribed, click the subscribe button, click the little bell so you can get notifications of every new video that I upload here on my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in to my channel, and stay connected. If you want to connect with me, jump on my website, www.davidhernandez.co, davidhernandez.co, or follow me on all social media platforms at Dave K. Hernandez, at Dave K. Hernandez. And I want to remind you, as I always do, remember, you are incredible. Go out, crush it, and live the life that you desire. Watch this video here for more insight. Check it out and let me know what your thoughts are. I'll talk to you later. Peace.